Canvas feature in Kairos allows you to work in non-broadcast raster sizes. So as we look at Multiviewer 2 here, we can see a 32:9 resolution, but we're treating it as if it's a single ME or a single source, a single scene within the Kairos ecosystem. And the advantage here is that we can work in that full raster size with a full preview. And setting it up is very simple. So to build or to set up a canvas size feature or an odd raster size feature, the first thing we're gonna do is create a new scene. So to do that, I'm gonna jump to my Scenes tab. I also like to call this my Scenes Builder. So I'll do a new scene with the simple right click in my Scenes bin or Control N. And I'm just going to name this New Canvas. It's asking me how many layers I wanna work in. For now, let's just say a background plus 2 layers. And of course, that's just the starting point. We can always add or subtract layers once we begin building our new scene. So the new canvas scene now, as I navigate to it down here at the bottom, is available to me. I select it, and now I have complete control over this new canvas scene. Because I have this scene selected, I can see the 2 layers in background that I selected as a default and what make up all of those layers. In the middle of my screen here, I see my preview window, my block diagram of the scene I'm actually building and working with. And we can see right off the bat, by default, it's defaulted into our 1920 by 1080 aspect ratio that we have our system set to. But for this module, we want to look at actually creating a non-standard resolution. And to do that, we're going to move to the right side of our screen and look at our parameter view. Now the first part of our parameter view is our global scene settings. Things like tally, color, and resolution are found here. And of course, resolution is what we're first worried about. So if we drop down the resolution drop-down menu here, we can see your standard 16:9 resolutions, 720, 1080, up to 4K. However, what we want to do is we want to utilize our canvas option feature, and that is available through our advanced menu here. So by dropping down the advanced, I now have the ability to check my advanced resolution control, and that will allow me to work in whatever resolution I want to define here. And so I can do that with the slider. So you can see I'm changing my X resolution, and that is changing the shape and size of my preview diagram here. So if I want to do that for the X, I can do that. If I want to do that for the Y as well, I can do that. So I can do that up to 8K worth of pixels. Maybe you want to work in a 9:16 instead of a 16:9. You can simply just type in 1080 by 1920, and now you have that maybe mobile display or on-set monitor that you're driving in more of a portrait mode. For today's example using Canvas, we're actually going to do a 32:9 LED wall example. We're going to do 3840 by 1080. And so I enter in those values here, and we can see the canvas that I'm working with is now matching that resolution. So it's that simple to set up your pixel dimensions, just simply type them in, and now we have this canvas to work in. Of course, being a broadcast switcher, we're still limited to broadcast resolutions on the output. So what can we do to actually get this out of the machine? Before we do that, let's build it a little bit. So on our first layer here, let's just add one of our 32:9 backgrounds. So to do that, I'm just going to select the layer and navigate to one of the clips. You can see we have natively playing back a 3840 by 1080 clip. I'm going to select that as my background. So now I have that playing in the background. And in addition to that, I will add just one of our inputs on top of that as a pip. Quickly add that, add a transform to it, and change its size a little bit, and then also change its position. So I'll change that, and while I'm doing that, I'm also going to jump to the multi-view and change my layout here so we can see what I'm working with. So on Multiviewer 1, I'm just going to recall a user preset, and I'm going to set my new canvas scene as one of my main pips here, and then I'm going to set the outputs where I want it to go down below it. And so to send this actual canvas to an output, I need to navigate to my aux outputs, and I can see I already have them labeled output left and output right. I'm going to send them the same source. So I'm sending both my left and right side of the LED wall or blended projector. I'm sending them the same new canvas scene. And if we look at our multi-view now, we can see that that full canvas is being output both the out left and out right side, and by default it's being squished down. So Kairos is taking the source resolution and squishing it down to be in the output raster size. So of course we don't want to do that, we want to get a true pixel representation here. And so to change that parameter, I'm simply going to select the output, in this case output left to start, and I'm going to drop down on my aux bus settings to advanced, and I'm looking for auto fit. By default this auto fit is checked, and that's what's taking that 3840 by 1080 source and squishing it into our 1920 by 1080. As soon as I uncheck this box, now I'm able to take a true one-to-one pixel frame from my canvas and send it to my output. You'll notice in the middle of the screen also I get this diagram of what I'm outputting. Now the shaded area is going to be the actual output. So you get an almost region of interest that you can take and scan from your canvas. So if I take this rectangle and now scan left or right, we can see in my multi-viewer that I'm scrubbing across that canvas. So if I'm doing a left to right display on set or a widescreen, of course my output left is going to take the left side of this canvas. Now on the right side I want to do a similar step. I'm going to come in, deselect auto fit, but instead of staying on the left of my canvas, I'm going to take that region of interest and move to the right, or if I need to type in the pixel I want it to start at, of course in this case it's going to be 1920, type in that, and now we can see on our multi-viewer on our outputs, output left and right are a true representation of what our canvas is displaying and what it is showing in real pixel space. Of course you can do things like this on other switchers. However, the big advantage here in Kairos is that we're working in a single raster. We don't have to worry about a left side ME or a right side ME. When we built this scene, because we're working as a single canvas and only delineating on the output, I can take things like this pip and I can cross that middle dimension across two outputs effortlessly. Whether this is a pip, move, a snapshot recall, or a transition, all of that can happen in a single raster and display on a single wall, and I don't have to worry about timing. I don't have to worry about MEs lining up or complex macros. I'm working in this with a full program preview as if it was any other element within Kairos. So Kairos really gives you the flexibility to build in other rasters. You don't have to stay in a standard 16 by 9. You can have 32 by 9 and 16 by 9 going on at the same time, all from a single box, but very simple and elegant for a single operator.